How's the air up there?
This is WRNW Milwaukee, 97.3 The Game. Number one for sports and stuff. Welcome to Wisconsin Sports Sunday. If it's happening here, these guys are talking about it.
Who are you guys?
Don Wachilis.
That's right.
The Professor Dan Underberg.
What if circumstances magnified one of them in size and strength?
And the Polish pipe bomb Jeff Orlowski.
How's the headbanging coming?
Welcome to Wisconsin Sports Sunday.
All right, welcome into a Wisconsin Sports Sunday as we wrap up the holiday weekend along with the Polish pipe bomb Jeff Orlowski, the Professor Dan Underberg. I'm Don Wachilis. Thank you as always for logging in and joining us. If you've done so on Facebook or Twitter, you can find us there. Also, obviously, here on The Game or on the iHeart app. Glad to have you again as we wrap up what was hopefully a safe and enjoyable 4th of July weekend. Boys, we got 10 fingers, 10 toes. We're all good?
Yep.
Everybody's good?
Yep.
I think so. Too early for counting.
I love the fact that there could be a question mark next to it because it's so early in the morning, but we'll get to a bunch of stuff here this morning. We got some Packer talk. The Bucs obviously making news this week with the release of Dame Lillard. We'll get into what's trending. We've got a big Brewer game coming up today in Miami as Brandon Woodruff gets back on the mound. Some Badger news. Obviously, we'll wrap things up with the book of Pipe Bomb. But guys, before we get into this, I want to kind of deviate just for a moment because I came across some new technology this weekend, and I know that technology can be a bit apprehensive for some people, regardless of how much you see it around you. For instance, this piece of technology we could find right here in the radio station, in your home, on the golf course, in the local park. It's everywhere, but just because it's everywhere doesn't necessarily mean people embrace it.
Okay.
All right.
So, all right. So you've got the tease down.
I've got the tease down. Okay. And so I want to introduce the general public to the garbage can. The garbage can. Some people refer to it as a trash can. I'll refer to it today as a garbage can, a wonderful invention in which you take your garbage, you throw it in, and then somebody will take that someplace to remove it, and the area stays wonderful.
Time out.
Now, wait, no, I'm on a roll.
Okay,
Go ahead. Time out. Go ahead.
Pipe Bomb, where do you think he's going with this story?
Well, I don't know, man. I'm trying to put myself in that brain.
Wow, I don't know how to take that one. But so I understand for some individuals, you know, mommy and daddy, as you were growing up, they trailed you and picked up after you. Uh-oh. And you didn't necessarily know the fact that it ended up in the garbage can. It was then taken out and it then went elsewhere. And so there were, I think, people over the holiday weekend who enjoyed themselves in a park-like setting, but did not understand the concept of taking garbage to said garbage can. So I want to give a shout out to all of the park people, all of the volunteers yesterday who went into the parks in 95-degree weather and humidity and picked up after people who are still apprehensive about that latest piece of technology known as the garbage can.
Bravo. I did not.
So,
okay, this is positive. This
so
is good.
I just, a shout out to all those people who came and picked up, and to all of those who this year who were apprehensive about that latest piece of technology. I understand
I gotcha.
Technology is always scary until you get used to it. Let's hope by next year we get used to the garbage can and you pick your stuff up and you throw it away, not thinking that it's okay for then someone else will come by and pick it up. Because I know the volunteers, the park and rec people yesterday, they were working hard in many instances, in many places, not just one, but in many places from here to Madison and north and south and everywhere else in between, picking up after people who were just scared of that latest piece of technology known as the garbage can. So a shout out to the park and rec people as we start out today.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, nicely done. That's
Thank
a nice PSA.
Okay. Little public service announcement to kick off and wrap up our holiday weekend. So let's.
Once the show's over, can
Yes, sir.
you call my kids and just say that exact same thing?
Boy, that is, yeah.
Please.
When you started out, I'm thinking, I'm thinking of a child. What did you do? What did you do? So,
but okay. So
right.
the PSA is
Yeah.
done. Let's get into some sports. We'll start.
Earth Day?
We'll start with some Packer talk. Jeff's favorite day of the year, Earth Day. If there's ever a guy in sandals and jeans walking around the forest on Earth Day, it's our friend Pipe Bomb over there.
Yeah.
But let's get into some Packer
little
talk
bird
here.
is landing on his finger.
Okay, let's pull it before this thing completely goes off the rails. Couple of storylines that came out this week. Some of them for me were kind of a no duh. Some that just you end up hopefully having a discussion about. And if it does come true in a trade proposal, I'll get to in a moment. I think it would be wonderful. But there was an article that came out yesterday that on the Sporting News outlet, Hunter Cookston wrote an article about Jordan Love. And one of the things that he says, and of course, what do we get? We get an unnamed scout that he's quoting in this. But basically what the quote is, and I won't get into it verbatim, that the anonymous, he says 5 times fast, scout said the knee injury is what held Jordan Love back last year, that it really wasn't regression. It was the fact that he came back into the starting lineup much too early, and the fact that he wasn't 100% is the reason for the regression that many people are attributing to Jordan Love last season, that because of the knee injury, because of returning back much quicker than many people thought he should have, that was why we saw the step back. And again, then on a positive note, Dan, many people now feeling that what we'll get is what we got in the last half of the season, Jordan Love's first year, for hopefully an entire season, again, as long as he stays healthy, that the concern with the regression from last year isn't quite as warranted as maybe some people think. It was more injury related than anything else.
Yeah, well, hopefully that's the case. I mean, look, I think when you saw him come back from injury, it was very clear that he was not at 100%. I don't know how many NFL football players have come back from injury after taking 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks off.
Right.
Are 100% when they come out of there. But it's more obvious when it's the quarterback, especially when it's a knee injury. You need that to plant. You need all those things to get some zip on the ball, to follow through. I hope that's the case. Yeah, Jordan Love was not feeling better until at least after the bye, when you could kind of see him moving around the pocket a little bit more. But at that case, we were fortunate. The Packers were fortunate to have a guy like Josh Jacobs that probably absorbed a lot of that weight when Jordan Love couldn't do his thing. And I guys, I'm sorry. I'll go back to, yes, he was not playing as well as he was the last 8 weeks of 2 years ago. But at the same time, I'm still of the mind. I'm sorry. I'm like a dead horse. I'm going to beat this one. Your receivers got to catch the ball. I just, it wasn't just a Jordan Love thing.
Right.
Yeah, he was injured. I get it. But when that ball is in your hands, and I'm not the one that falls into the place of, well, if you can touch it, you can catch it. That's not always reasonable, but there were plenty of catches that should have been had that weren't, as a result of whatever focus, whatever it was. So glad to hear that there's someone out there that thinks he can come back, that he'll be a stronger version of Jordan Love. But I think a lot of that goes away if you have receivers that could have caught that ball.
Jeff, concern level with Jordan Love. I mean, for us, I never thought it was a bounce back year. Like, we were really concerned, like he needed this bounce back year. I think any of us who followed the game last year, especially locally with regards to the Packers, kind of understood that whatever regression somebody wants to speak of was tied to the knee injury. I mean, it was week 1. It was just one of those things that it was going to take some time for it to heal, and maybe he did jump back much too early.
Well, that's a good way to look at it. Do I buy it? No. I think that
Here comes Earth Day.
I think that Jordan Love wanted to come back. He saw how well brother Malik was playing and keeping the Packers season alive. I think that helped expedite the situation. I think looking back on it like this, especially from a quote unquote unnamed scout or unnamed sources, if you believed it, you would have put your name on it. And obviously we know how the Packers run things like Red China, and, no information that they don't want to leak out is going to leak out. So, I don't understand. My concern level for Jordan Love is always going to be a 7 or 8, just because the quarterback's the most important position. And so whether it's injury, whether it's poor performance, whether it's getting struck by lightning, who knows, but you're always concerned about that position. That's the easiest way to end your season before it ever really begins.
Well said. And I like what Jeff just said there, Dan, about the fact that it was something positive, right? But yet the source is unnamed. Like, why would you have an unnamed source in a situation where the person, and it might be the person saying it, like, yeah, please don't name me in this, but why when it's something positive? Are you afraid that you were talking about the regression of Jordan Love? But everybody is. And basically what you're saying is it's not going to happen again simply because of the fact that as long as he stays healthy, that was the impetus as to why he struggled the way he did last season.
Well, here's my question about, so the unnamed source was a scout?
Yes.
Is that what it said?
Yeah, an
So
NFL scout, according
NFL scout.
again to
Okay.
the Sporting News.
So I don't disagree with what Pipe Bomb says, but how often do you hear a scout attributed about another player, or, during the course of the season, even during the draft, scouts say,
yeah,
right? You don't hear, you very rarely hear scouts on the record kind of putting that together, because I don't know if it's because an unwritten rule in the NFL, you don't comment about other players, kind of a thing. But I'll go this way. Maybe it's a little counterintuitive to what Pipe Bomb is saying. If there's more of a narrative from other scouts, NFL scouts, that granted they're unattributed, but more people are saying the same thing. Yeah, it was more the knee than it was a regression. Then there's more legs to the story, no pun intended, right? But if there's, thank you. But if it's just the one, then Jeff, you're right. Then how much weight do we put behind what he's got to say?
All right.
Okay, so what did he say? That, Jordan Love took a step back. So if it, this article's blaming it on the knee injury. If it wasn't that and he took a step back, then it would be the sophomore slump. If it wasn't that and he took a step back, then it would be something else.
Right.
So, we're in the excuse business now. Win some damn games. And it's got everything to do with the entire offense as a whole, coming down from the plays that are being called, the players that they keep, to the actual execution on the field. So, this just seems like in excuses that no one was really looking for.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
Somebody said to him, you owe me a 500 word article here by 5 o'clock. Can you put something together for me real quick? Here's the subject area. Go. And the author went, and that's the story that we got. Another one that popped up on The Athletic, because we're in this quiet time with regards to the NFL. Not much going on. We see the same thing with the NBA. Everybody's got a proposed trade, especially now in this world of fantasy football or fantasy basketball or fantasy baseball, where a couple of guys can go after and sit down, have a beverage or two, and negotiate a trade with their fantasy teams. Everybody thinks it's that easy. And especially now in the NBA, which we'll get to in the second segment, with these various aprons, the way the CBA is set up, it's not as easy as everybody wants to think it is. But a trade proposal on The Athletic went this way. The Packers trading with Pittsburgh, who you hear now, not just through The Athletic, but there is a lot of buzz with regards to this particular trade, in the fact that the Packers going after TJ Watt. Now, I don't know if the buzz is more homegrown, because TJ Watt, obviously a product of the state of Wisconsin, wanting to see one of the homegrown kids, come back into the fold and play for the Green Bay Packers. But I'm going to throw at you what the proposed trade was. I want to know whether you agree with it or don't agree with it. I've got one area within this trade proposal I have a hang up, but I'll start with you guys first. So it would be the Packers trading for TJ Watt. The Packers would send Lucas Van Ness, Romeo Doubs, and a first and third round draft pick next year. The Packers simply get TJ Watt in return. Initial reaction.
Hypothetically, I like it.
Okay.
Hypothetically, and I go with the idea of I think if you're going to invest in Matthew Golden, then Dobbs is kind of one of those guys where you think to yourself, okay, is his head there? He's shown that he can produce, but you wonder sometimes about some things with him. But I'm going to go this, and this is where people are going to lose their mind. Guys, and that's can we get 3 years of first round productivity from TJ Watt? Okay, so nobody wants to trade a first round draft pick. Nobody, you can't touch the first round draft pick. I'm like, if you can get 3 years of productivity, of higher level productivity from the person that you're trading for as a result of the first round draft, because you don't know. Lucas Van Ness is going to be the guy, right? And it hasn't worked out. And Packers and every other NFL team has litanies of stories of guys that have not worked out. Meanwhile, you have a proven entity in TJ Watt. Right. So yeah, I would do it. I would take that trade.
Jeff, how about you? I mean, the idea of TJ coming back into the fold here in Wisconsin is something I like. The productivity I think he gives a NFL team is there, but there is the injury question mark over the last few years with TJ Watt.
Yeah, it would. That deal would be done, signed, sealed, and delivered. Like you said, Dan. First round pick. Come on, man. How many of those first round picks have we missed, especially on the defensive side of the ball? We don't know how to draft good defenders in the first round. We've proved that 18 out of the last 19 years in Green Bay. So hell yeah, I'm making that deal in a heartbeat. And while Dobbs, you can see the talent and all that kind of stuff, he's got a soft skull. And the amount of concussions, he got concussed wearing one of those Guardian caps. So unless you can wrap him in bubble wrap and, the injury concerns about Watt, well, obviously there's injury concerns about Dobbs and about every single other person in the NFL. Yeah, that's a done deal for me.
Yeah, I like the proposed trade. I did have a bit of a hang up with the first round pick. Not necessarily because it's a first round pick. I think you could take the first round pick out of the mix, even if you ended up trading it to someone else for another player and simply go with Lucas Van Ness, Dobbs, and a third round pick. I think that's adequate compensation right there for the likes of TJ Watt. Now
that the draft is done in Green Bay, you can do whatever you want with the draft. There's no way they could have traded that pick.
Right.
When you're in the shadow of Lambeau Field hosting the draft, you had to pick somebody.
Okay, but what if the Packers would have traded this before draft day or the day of draft day, where the commissioner walks out and says the Packers have made a trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they do the hang on to your edge of seat moment. They read off who the Packers are giving up, but then TJ Watt walks onto the stage in full Wisconsin garb. That place would have gone nuts, much like it did when the commissioner walked out and said for the first time in however many years, the Packers will take a wide receiver. I think that would have been as dramatic of a moment. I think they would have excused a non-first round draft pick had they had TJ Watt on hand and just walked him out on stage and said, but this is what you're getting, Packer fans.
Yeah. Just from the lows of despair, you traded our first round draft pick, 100,000 people just sitting there to all of a sudden, favorite son walking on the stage. Yeah. That would have been that would have been a movie.
Yes.
Right there. That would have been great.
Could you have seen, Jeff, that long walk through the tunnel, like somehow being concealed?
Oh, yeah.
Like guys walking with drapes like they do sometimes at concerts to conceal who it is, and then just unveiling once you get on stage. That would have been as dramatic as it could be. But again, with this particular proposal, I'm all in. I got a little bit of a question mark with the first round pick. Maybe you throw in a second or a fourth in exchange for that. But again, Jeff, to your point, it's not necessarily because I want to hold on to that first round pick because we've been so successful with what we've done in the past.
Yeah. I think that if the Packers would have done that on draft night, there would have been an all-time the record of most beer spilled in the state of Wisconsin would have happened right there, because everybody would have been jumping up and down, or at least trying to get as close to their tippy toes as they could. We weigh a little bit around here, but there would have been a massive amount of beer spillage.
Not only spilled, but thrown. I think that would have just been an all-out blitz, an all-out party would have taken place. All right, let's get to a break. There's a couple other things with regards to the Packers in the NFL we'll get to a little bit later in the show. When we come back after we take a timeout, I want to talk about our Milwaukee Bucks, who made some news this week, and we'll get to it next. It's Wisconsin Sports Sunday here on The Game.
Winter getting colder, summer getting warmer, tidal wave come across the Mexican border. Wide back gallon is cheaper by the barrel, just don't get busted singing Christmas carols.
They say seeing is believing. And when you check out what's waiting for you at American Place Casino, you'll definitely believe you'll love it. From thrilling gaming to top-notch service, we're changing the game. Come play all your favorites like blackjack, craps, roulette, and the latest slots. Catch a game at the sportsbook, enjoy great restaurants, bars, and more. If you're ready for excitement, exceptional service, and an experience you'll never forget, then we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game. Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER.
Real feedback from Brookfield and Mequon's Reset Restore MD patient.
My daughter's intravenous ketamine treatments made a significant difference in just 2 weeks.
R&R for relief. Reset Restore MD. rnrmd.com.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Craving a turkey sandwich? Start with Kraft Real Mayonnaise, made with eggs from right here in the Midwest and whipped velvety smooth. Taste the difference in potato salad and tuna casserole too. Kraft Real Mayonnaise. Real good ingredients, real good taste.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
Lowe's knows how to set off your July 4th with savings. Right now, buy one, get one free on select one-coat coverage interior paint via Visa gift card rebate. Plus, get 2 select 2 or 2.5 quart red, white, and blue annuals for just $10. Hurry, these July 4th deals won't last long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for more details.
The Fox 6 weather experts are presented by AdventKnows.com.
Scattered showers and a few thunderstorms are possible on Sunday. We'll gradually clear that out by Sunday night. Otherwise, we'll have a cooler day with highs in the upper 70s, but still very muggy. Dew points lowered on Monday. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Lisa Michaels.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off. Free UPS shipping and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
Make 97.3 The Game your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
But girl, I'm not impressed. I tell you one time only with my business, please don't mess with you. Look at all these rumors
welcome back in. It's a Wisconsin Sports Sunday here on The Game as we wrap up the holiday weekend. Hope everybody was safe. You enjoyed it. As Pipe Bomb would opine. I still remember that from last week. That was such a beautiful use of a word. But, making sure we have 10 fingers, 10 toes, making our way into the work week tomorrow.
And it ain't over yet.
It ain't over. Yeah, that's true. It ain't over yet. Maybe the rain will discourage some from getting outside and lighting off the remaining. I don't want to encourage because I know that's what a law we have here in our state where it's okay to buy, but you can't use it.
Yeah.
Like you can go someplace and buy it, but most municipal ordinances are you can't utilize it. Just strange.
Yeah, we're going to sell fast food, but you can't eat it in the state. So, okay. It doesn't make much sense.
All right. Thank you, Jeffrey. Let's get to the Milwaukee Bucks, who made news again this past week with waiving Dame time. Right. Dame Lillard no longer a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. So, Dan, shocked when you heard the news? I mean, I know it came down when the guys on No BS, were in the midst of their show when, things started flashing across the various TV screens and computer monitors that Dame was being released by the Milwaukee Bucks. I had almost the same feeling I did when the Bucks acquired Dame Lillard, that there was that kick in the gut, first in a good way, that we were getting Dame, but again, a kick in the gut that we were releasing it, but for a different reason, a reason in which I was able to rationalize after the initial, the shock of the news, so to speak.
When I heard it, I was surprised. And then as the morning wore on and you heard kind of people walk through the logic of it, I felt a lot better about it. And I wasn't disappointed to hear that he was waived. I was just surprised. I've been of the mind, and nothing new on this station because, Brian Butch was on Drew and KB and said the same thing. It means more coming from him, but it didn't work.
Thank you.
It didn't work. And I don't blame Dame and I don't blame Giannis it just for whatever reason. And you could see it. And we wanted this to work so much.
Yes. Yes.
You're going to try, we're going to do different things. And I don't fault anybody for making that trade. But it just didn't work. And hanging on to this longer, especially after the injury that Damian Lillard has, you weren't going to see a return next year, in terms of productivity, in terms of real use. And I thought that John Horst did a really, really nice creative job of allowing Damian Lillard to recover and do what he wants to do and giving him that space to do it. And he did a lot of, I thought John Horst had a really good free agency period. I thought it was outstanding. Surprised, yes. But after a while, within a couple hours, I almost relieved, I guess is the best way that I would put it.
The issue I had listening to some of the initial reactions, Pipe Bomb, was this idea of loyalty. Like, how could the Bucks do this to Dame? How could you release Dame after that type of injury? And I wanted to push back and say, yeah, it kind of stinks. It's the business model that is professional sports, that sometimes you get injured, and because of the injury, teams will move on. But to Dan's point, number one, it wasn't working. It just didn't work. I mean, there were points last season when both of those guys were healthy. I thought it worked better when Dame came off the bench and Giannis had to sit down for a breather. Now, Giannis is not going to sit down for a breather, so to speak, for the length of a quarter or whatever the case may be. But those two on the floor, it never synced up. But then the other part of me, this isn't an issue where Dame got cut and he's not reaping the financial reward still of the contract. Yes, it's going to be spaced out over the next few years, but what did we celebrate the other day? Bobby Bonilla Day, Ryan Braun Day, all of these guys who have had their contracts extended out for the benefit of the team that are still getting paid today that aren't playing. Dame still has the ability to come back and play, and now Dame can sit back in the midst of this rehabilitation, getting himself back to 100%, and pick where it is he wants to go. I mean, I hear Boston might be, a landing spot for him. I don't know if that would be the right move. If I'm Dame's agent, I'm like, Boston's in the midst of a fire sale. You're not going to necessarily win a championship with Boston. Why don't you sit back and wait for the season to get up and running, because you still are going to have your contract. You're going to make $22 million next year not playing for the Bucks. So you can sit back, grab a league minimum, I don't know, January, February for a contending team and see if we can get you a championship. But the idea that there was no loyalty just kind of, I thought it was a misrepresentation by many on an initial reaction when a guy is still going to make probably close to $100-some million and not have to play for the organization that is writing the check.
Well, loyalty only matters when it's being shown from ownership to the player. There should be no loyalty that's shown from the player to the organization, as far as whatever idiot said that stupid statement, about the Bucks not showing loyalty to Dame. You're damn right it didn't work. I'm glad he's gone. Because first of all, straight up, somebody's going to lotto, and Dame just did, because he's getting paid a sick amount of money to do nothing now, to go get healthy. But where's the apology from Dame to Bucks Nation when he sat there and said that, he misses his kids and his family, and he was going through a divorce, so he's not all there mentally and stuff like that. So did he show loyalty to the Bucks by putting personal stuff aside and showing up to work and giving 100% day in, day out? I don't know. That's up to you guys to decide. But he didn't come in here in the best, frame of mind, missing home, all this stuff. Heaven forbid a millionaire has to move his family from one coast to the center of the country. What are we talking about? So I do give John Horst a hell of a lot of credit for saying, this is a mess. This didn't work out. I put more of the blame on Dame than I do on the Bucks as a whole, or I don't put any of this really on Giannis. But, it didn't work. It's time to move on. The bigger move for me was getting rid of Lopez. I thought that was great. We've been saying for years how the Bucks need to get younger, and they did.
Yeah.
And people are complaining about that too. Just shut up.
Go ahead, Dan.
No, with this free agents period, they really kind of, I don't want to say fixed, but they improved. I think they're a better team now this year than they were last season.
Yeah.
They're better, but I don't think they improved their chances of winning a title.
I think they're better than they were last year.
Okay.
I do. I think they're better than they were last year. And there's a couple of factors. Number one, I think if you look at the contending teams in the East, they all feel a little bit weaker. The teams that were better than the Bucks don't look as strong as they were. So
right.
I see the Bucks have a better opportunity to get to the finals. Let's see what happens. Now, does that mean they will win a championship? I don't know. We've gone, how many repeats have we had in the last 5-6 years? Kind of a thing. So I think they're better. I do. I think they're better. And the other part is, I don't feel sorry. I don't feel sorry for Brook Lopez. He's at the end of his career.
And he got 19 mil.
He got 19 million. And I will always hold him with affinity.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Milwaukee anytime. I'll cheer you when you're in town.
Right.
But he's doing just fine. He'll be okay. And with Dame, I just kind of go back to, it was pretty obvious when he got picked up by Milwaukee, this is not where he wanted to be. Everything. It wasn't that is a man that wanted to go to South Florida. That's where he wanted to go. And there was, I think I'm building off of what you said, Pipe Bomb. How much complaining would there have been from that camp about missing my kids and going through a divorce had he landed in Miami?
Right.
Okay. So I think he accepted Milwaukee. I think he was professional about it. He was willing to do it, but Milwaukee was not his first choice, especially when he got a sense of where he was not going to Miami. And he went back to Portland and said, hey, I'll play here another year. No, thank you. We'll send you where we're going to send you.
Right. And that to me was the baseline for where this relationship jumped off.
Mm-hmm.
And it just never worked in the fashion that we had hoped when that news broke that Dame Lillard was going to be a Milwaukee Buck. And then I look at Brook Lopez, and as you guys have said, we talked about Brook for so often here over the last year or so. His skill set, his ability to get to the rim is still there. His ability to give you 32, 34 minutes a game has depreciated. He's getting up in years, and no athlete ever wants to admit it. I understand that. But his ability to protect the rim the way he did even 5 or 6 years ago isn't the same. And the issue at hand is what? We are embracing a unit that brought a championship to this city. So when a Brook Lopez leaves, when a Drew Holiday leaves, when a Chris Middleton leaves, we are a little bit saddened because they were a part of that nucleus that brought a championship back to the city. And we reminisce about how great the Deer District was and the games and all of that stuff. That's where I think the heart of the fan gets in the way of the mind of, let's say, a John Horst, as far as making the business decision. Now, one of the entities still out there as far as free agency goes is Chris Paul, and Chris Paul now is being linked a little bit with the Milwaukee Bucks. And I will be the first to say no.
I'll be the second.
And here's here's the rationale, and you guys can piggyback on it or, add your own. But one of the things this team has shown over the years is a need to get younger. And Chris Paul, I think, is a really good point guard. I think he's a Hall of Fame point guard. But like I was just saying with Brook Lopez, he's getting up in years. And you start getting up in years, your mind says, here's where I'm going. But your feet are like, no, dude, I'm getting too old to be trying to do that. And so Chris Paul, though it sounds nice, I'll take a hard pass. I think there's got to be somebody else out there who can handle the rock more efficiently, more athletically than where Chris Paul is right now in his career.
Yeah, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I just don't need the drama. The Bucks have been, I would argue, with the exception of the head coaching changes, it's been a very, very low mumble of drama coming out of the Bucks practice facility and coming out of Fiserv. There hasn't been a ton of it. A lot of that has to do with the presence of Giannis, and eliciting the way this team is going to be and how they're going to treat each other and all that kind of fun stuff. And I'm sure it's there. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure it's there, but it hasn't bled out significantly into public domain, right? Whereas, if might be exaggerating this, but it feels like recently wherever Chris Paul has stopped, there has been drama. I don't need it. And there's some tread on those tires. And so to get all the drama and maybe not the productivity, no, thank you.
Didn't we learn our lesson with the whole Gary Payton experiment?
Yeah.
Let's not
26 games.
Let's not repeat that.
Yeah, that's very well said. And that kind of piggybacks into where I want to go next, because of course, and can we give a shout out to the Lakers? Let's just give some love to the Lakers, because on purpose, because this whole LeBron taking the player option and will he be traded has kind of pushed the whole, what are we going to do with Giannis, off the front burners of the national media. All week long, it's been, what will the Lakers do? Is he going to Cleveland? Is he going to New York? I'm like, thank you, Lakers, for letting us have a moment to breathe and not have to hear about what are they going to do with Giannis. But then I always stop and think, and Pipe Bomb and I talked about this for a hot minute before we came on the air, is the fact that everybody wants to trade Giannis. Everybody says it's time for the Bucks to reset, get your draft picks and do everything else. And I go back however many years it is, because it's math and I don't want to do it right now. But when we talk about the Bucks trading Kareem, and you think about what the Bucks got for Kareem, the haul they got, Hall of Fame caliber players, great draft choices or draft picks, excuse me. You got everything you were asked to get or should get for one of the greatest of all time, that being Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And out of that, how many championships? Just because you're going to get draft picks, just because you've got those great players in return, doesn't necessarily fortify your ability to get another championship. So I'd much rather maintain one of the greatest players, again, this organization has ever had, and do our best to build around, especially in the Eastern Conference, which is in complete turmoil right now. Indiana with Halliburton being out. Boston's in the midst of a fire sale. New York finally got a head coach. That's a team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals and showed their leadership, their business acumen, and they have no idea what they're doing out in New York. Cleveland, on paper, is probably one of the better teams in all of the Eastern Conference, but Cleveland has yet to show anyone they can win the big game. They keep going. We keep talking about the Bucks going out in the first round. What about the level of talent sitting with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they can't get over the hump? So I'll take Giannis. I'll take whatever John Horst can do with the limited capacity he has right now with draft picks and finances and everything else, and try to do what we can do around Giannis, as opposed to this idea you ship him away, you get all these wonderful draft picks and a couple of players, and you'll be right back in the fold. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, Chris in the Bend hits the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line and says, youth is key, but this team has lacked great decision-making in clutch moments. I would trust CP3 to make the right decisions and put Giannis in an excellent position to score.
Now, well said. Well said. Thank you for chiming in and being a part of the show. My issue at hand is the first part of what he said, that youth factor, right? So now we put another aged guard on the floor to run the show. What does that then do on both ends? Not just defensively, but both ends of the floor. At some time in a player's career, life just slows down. It just does. And I get what he's saying, because if you've got a veteran out there that makes great decisions, you can't do without that. You want that general at the point guard position. But athletically, even though the mind is still there, athletically, Professor, will it play out, so to speak? You know what I mean? Like, I know I got to get the ball here, but at some point, the body just sits and laughs at the brain and says, I can't do that anymore.
I look at that. Maybe it's a thing with the NBA, or maybe it's all sports, where the idea is if we get this one guy, it will fix things. And we just found out that it's not always the one guy that'll make it work. Look, is Chris Paul a good player? Yeah, I'm not denying that. And I would say that, yeah, there's probably that veteran presence that's being talked about that would be helpful. But I also look at that and saying, let's not diminish the opportunity to find someone else. Let's not diminish the opportunity to groom someone else. I'm kind of over the Chris Paul experiment. It just doesn't feel like that wherever he's landed, it's worked. And that's where I come from. It's this, if you look at the body of work for Chris Paul individually, it's outstanding, right? Putting it together. But, if the framework of the conversation is getting to a championship, are they there?
Crickets, right?
Yeah. So well, I'm of the mind, let's find someone that can work with Giannis, and knows Giannis is the focus of the team and not trying to divert it.
And let's remember, Jeff, there have been Hall of Fame players in every single professional sporting entity that exists in this country that are in the Hall of Fame that have never won a championship. They've never won a championship. And I get Chris Paul has been chasing that, and I ain't mad at him for it. You want that. You want that as part of your resume. But there comes a time you've got the centerpiece, you've got your GOAT in Giannis. Let's put him there and let's build around.
Yeah, my problem with the whole Chris Paul thing is that if the Bucks got Chris CP3 on this team here, then it's really, what the hell are they doing? You've got a coach in Doc Rivers who doesn't like to play the young guys.
Yes.
So Doc would love to have CP3. It fits his style, veterans, all that. And you just got rid of Lopez. So the parking spot for the hover round is already there. All the infrastructure is there for CP3. But then the fan base wants this team to get younger and get more athletic and get more with current baseball or basketball and the way that the NBA is being played right now. Doing the CP3 deal would move you farther and farther away from that. This team needs to get young studs in here who are athletic and who can contribute, not necessarily this season coming up, because, I don't care what moves the Bucks make. I don't think they're legitimate title contenders next year, but the season after. You need guys who can make a difference. And I'm, not a 28 point a night guy. You don't need that, but you need some dudes who can pump double digits, 10, 11. A nice rebounder would be fun. How about a point guard who can dish out some assists? And then you got to build it that way. CP3 thing, to me, with just the Bucks kicking the can further down the road and costing themselves more years of the Giannis era of having that title window open.
The hard part about this right now as a Bucks fan for me is listening to, and I know you can just hit the switch, turn it off. I get it, but I don't. I end up listening to it. The idea when people talk about on paper, well, look what the 76ers have done, and look what this team has done, and look what that team has done. And I'll go back to the 76ers. The 76ers, who on paper last year going into the season, every talking head had them either one or two as potential NBA Eastern Conference representatives in the championship. And then injury, and then injury, and then injury. And that team was decimated by January. It was irrelevant by January. Yet going into the season, look out. Here come the 70. It's the rebirth. It's the return of Dr. J, for goodness sakes. It's going to be the team of all teams. It couldn't do a thing. So before we get all bent out of shape as far as the Bucks go, wait and see what happens once we get a month or two into next season. Now, we may find that the Bucks are, not what we had hoped, but we may also find that there are a bunch of other teams that aren't either, and the Bucks might find their way moving up the chart, so to speak. The only thing I'll say is this with regards to Giannis. Can Giannis stop with the cryptic tweets every once in a while when something goes down? I feel like I want to do the John Cusack thing in a trench coat and hold up the boombox in front of Fiserv Forum and just say, either say something or don't say anything. See what I did there? Come on, that was pretty good on a Sunday.
Wow, we're breaking to say anything on a Sunday.
I didn't have say anything on the bingo card.
All right, let's get to a break. On the other side of this timeout, we'll get into what's trending. It's Wisconsin Sports Sunday here on The Game.
Fire up the blender, mix it all up. It's a French kiss, Italian ice, margaritas in the moonlight.
We love to celebrate the 4th of July with family, friends, food, and fireworks. Please be safe this Independence Day weekend and don't drink and drive. From your friends at Gruber Law and iHeartMedia.
Craving a turkey sandwich? Start with Kraft Real Mayonnaise, made with eggs from right here in the Midwest and whipped velvety smooth. Taste the difference in potato salad and tuna casserole too. Kraft Real Mayonnaise. Real good ingredients, real good taste.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed.
From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Meta AI is the personal AI that's tailored to you. Now with its very own app. It's built to get to know you, offering helpful answers and inspiration. If you're looking for something to add to your bucket list, Meta AI goes beyond traveling the world. It remembers you're a basketball fan and suggests you attend one of the playoff games. Just start typing or speaking to get the answers you need, wherever, whenever, because Meta AI is your personal AI. Download and try the app today. Now available on the Apple App Store or Google Play.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey, more like Mira joyed that Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at Walmart.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
July 4th may be over, but Macy's July 4th sale is still on with everything you need to keep the vibe going all summer long. Hosting? Turn your backyard into a party destination with 40 to 50% off outdoor dining and entertaining. Beachbound? Turn heads in this season's hottest swimsuits, sundresses, and more. Get away with the kids? Superpower their summer with 25 to 60% off toys from Nerf and more. But hurry, because the sale ends tonight at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
You've got an app for your music, but what about your favorite morning show, sports team, or live local news and weather?
Things start to change.
Yep, there's an app for all that too. iHeartRadio. Download the #1 app for radio, the free iHeartRadio app.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off, free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
All right, welcome back in. It's a Wisconsin Sports Sunday here on the game as we're wrapping up the holiday weekend. Polish Pipe, I'm Jeff Orlowski on the ones and twos. The professor sits to my right. I'm Don Wachillis. And guys, over the weekend, we had a return to championship form in the Joey Chestnut, however you say his name, who shoved 71 and a half hot dogs down his pie hole and comes away once again.
70 and a half.
70 and a half?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was 7. I'm sorry. 70
Over
and a
under
half.
was 71 and a half. He only hit 70.
Are we investigating that? It seems like everybody's under investigation now for potential gambling issues. What was the over under?
71 and a half at
71 and a half, and he stopped at 70 and a half. Are we investigating that? Do we have potential fraud in the hot dog eating contest that he took the under?
Well, did you watch it?
No, I'm not watching that.
Oh, I watched it. He gave a full effort the entire time. The guy's a machine. He's a hero. Oh, yeah, we should all tip our caps to Jaws.
There is just no way I can sit back and watch somebody do that. Now, for whatever reason, if I'm watching, like, what is it, the Food Network, where they have those challenges where the guy can eat the spicy stuff or do this, I can live with that. But watching him shove those, oh, God, I don't know how you do it, Pipe Bomb.
Oh, it's great, man. And I was thinking about it. It's the only thing I've watched on ESPN, like in the last 5 or 8 years, that wasn't an actual game. And I tape it every year because usually I'm working. But yeah, as soon as I get home, boom, there's the hot dogs. I love it.
So here comes the question. I'll start with you, Professor, then over to Jeffrey on the other side there. Is it a sport? Like, honestly, I've heard this debate since it took place on Friday. Is it a sport? Is competitive eating a sport?
It's a competition. It's not a sport.
Okay. All right.
Oh, it's 100% a sport. They're out there in the elements, the heat, the humidity. I'm sure it's swampy. And then you got to sit there
right now.
And you got to pull, you got to put down 70, 75 hot dogs. Oh, yeah, that's a sport. They were sweating.
Well, no kidding.
It's more athletic than golf.
No. No. Don't even.
You crossed the line.
Oh, my Lord. He didn't cross the line. He jumped over it. Oh, I can't believe you would put that in the same category.
It's a sport. And I'm sure they can eat in the rain. No rain delays there.
Ring the bell, pipe.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't even know where to come back after that one. I'll just let pipe up stand. Because anything you say, Jeff's just gonna go, it's a sport. It's a sport. That's all he's gonna say.
I didn't realize I was getting fired today.
That will never happen on our watch. That's not gonna happen. I can't do it. It just watch the way they do it.
I can watch it. I can only watch it one time.
Well, the question is,
okay.
Is that okay? So 4th of July night, you're done celebrating. You're sitting on the couch. All of a sudden, your doorbell rings. You open it up. There's Joey Chestnut. Excuse me, sir. My car just broke down. Can I use your bathroom?
Heck no.
What are you going to say?
No, buddy. Here's toilet paper. Bush up the street. Go nuts. You are not coming in my house.
Wow, you do not like your neighbors.
No, unless he rings a doorbell, he's got a plunger in the other hand because he's going to be rocking that thing. Here to me is
comes out lighting a match.
You got a candle? I need a candle. Here becomes the idea for me, like, does it have to be done, Jeffrey, under a time period? Like, couldn't we just line up 70 hot dogs and they sit there and go to work? And I don't care if it takes 3 hours. I don't need to watch him shoving 5 or 6 hot dogs down his pie hole and then dunking. Oh, when they dunk the hot dog butt, no, I can't do it, boss.
So your idea of a good Saturday afternoon is to go and hang out and watch people eat at Old Country Buffet? Yeah. There's got to be time.
You're making it sound like my idea of fun is going to watch him shove it down his pie hole in 5 minutes or whatever the clock is.
It is an athletic achievement unlike any we have seen.
An athletic achievement.
When I think of my Mount Rushmore of athletes.
Yeah, Chestnut should be up there along Kobayashi too. Yeah.
Oh my
goodness. All right. I don't know how we pivot.
John Daly.
Yeah, that would be that's where you could have went with your argument. Like, is John Daly an athlete? Though I do love John Daly, the way he warms up to play his event, because I try to emulate that as much as possible before getting on the golf course.
John Daly is like the connection between everybody and actual athletes. He's the guy that lives that space right in between.
That's a great way of putting it.
He doesn't look like the athlete, but he gets to play with them.
Well, he doesn't look like the athlete. He doesn't train like an athlete.
Yeah, he's the guy with the championships.
There's that real clip out there where him and Tiger pass. And he says, "Where are you going?" And Tiger said, "I'm going to the gym." He's like, "Well, you ain't going to find me there. I got a 3-letter word up the street you'll find me at. It's called bar. And that's where I'll be getting ready for the tournament today." Real quick on a pivot before we get to the top of the hour. Yeah, we got to get off of this hot dog eating thing. We brought it up a couple of weeks ago, but it keeps rearing its ugly head in the fact that how is the WNBA continually shooting itself in the foot? This, to me, is a league that has been just yearning for respect in the sporting world, yearning for more popularity, more media coverage, more of you can lay it out on the buffet, as Jeff just said. And now they're getting it. And they don't, in my opinion, know how to handle it, because you've got some players now who are garnering some media attention. And the only thing you have is this silly bickering going back and forth that I think is destroying their ability to continue to the momentum that they had beginning this particular season.
Yeah, it's just so interesting. It's just this case study in what not to do when you have all this attention. And for me, there needs to be much stronger leadership from the WNBA, from the commissioner's office, and really kind of cracking down on what's going on in the NBA or WNBA, what's going on the officiating, because at some point it just becomes a caricature of itself. You're not watching basketball. You're just watching women fight, and that's really, sorry if you're a WNBA fan, but so sorry, Pipe Bomb, but it's what do you see in highlight reels now? What clips do you see on social? It used to be, for a little while, we had these 3 years of Caitlin Clark just shooting these bombs, shooting the lights out of gyms and doing that. Like, okay, that's pretty incredible. We're not used to seeing that. She gets into the WNBA and just all hell breaks loose, so someone's got to walk in there and really control this. This is a league that is looking to expand to 3 new cities in sequential years, and yet you've got one city that's close to going under. So the league's got problems in spite of what the press releases say.
And I get the idea for some of the players, Jeff. They're offended because they've been in the league. They're good players, and they're apprehensive and a bit snarky about the fact that Caitlin Clark has gotten the spotlight. But you can't dim the spotlight on what now is your cash cow with regards to this league, because if you do, it diminishes then the league and your chance for financial prosperity in the league that you're now playing in.
I see both sides of this one. I spent a lot of time deep in thought on the WNBA here. I can understand the veterans of that failing league being upset that this chick comes in and she's automatically the biggest star, must-see TV. You take a deeper dive into Caitlin Clark's numbers this year, they suck. I think she's shooting like under 30% from the field. So your biggest star, her numbers ain't there. And yes, does she take a bunch of hard fouls and make the league look like a clown show in general? Yeah, of course she does. But is she taking horrible shots with just a ridiculous amount of turnovers? Yeah, she's doing that as well. So it seems like there's two sides of the Caitlin Clark thing. There's the fans who, oh my God, she's the greatest thing ever. And then you got the haters. It's a league full of high drama, just like the NBA is a league full of high drama too.
And the only difference there, and I think that was very well said at the end, the high drama between both leagues, because it's not necessarily, or does anyone who want to create the perception that, we're talking about women playing basketball, blah, blah, blah. We can go down that hole at some point. But the idea of the drama part of it is where it gets a little bit, because the WNBA isn't at the same marquee level right now as the NBA. So you got to kind of squash it a little bit and market it a little bit differently than what it's doing at this moment. Nice choice of song, Jeffrey, telling us we got to get to a break as we reach the top of the hour. We get ready to start off hour number 2. Let's get into some Brewer talk. We'll do it next. It's Wisconsin Sports Sunday on the Game.
Your table manners are a crying shame. You're playing with your food, this ain't some kind of game. Now if you starve to death, you'll just have yourself to blame. So eat it, just eat it.
I'm Dr. Damon Tanton for Viome. Viome's full body intelligence test is the new science in anti-aging and life-extending insights. Viome analyzes your biological age to see if your body is aging too rapidly. You'll learn how making simple, precise changes in certain foods and supplements can, get this, slow your aging, keep you looking young, and help prevent future health issues. Next, Viome doctors design supplements specifically to your body's needs. Their job is to slow down and help reverse how fast your body is aging. And your Viome microbiome test reveals why you have stomach issues, don't sleep well, have low energy, even why you can't lose weight, and more. Viome reboots your body to live longer, live healthier, and look younger.
Viome is changing lives. Order your full body intelligence test online and save $50. Viome guarantees rapid, remarkable health improvements your doctor will notice. Visit Viome.com, promo code THRIVE. That's Viome.com, promo code THRIVE.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement, $999.99 and qualifying ported. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Craving a turkey sandwich? Start with Kraft Real Mayonnaise, made with eggs from right here in the Midwest and whipped velvety smooth. Taste the difference in potato salad and tuna casserole too. Kraft Real Mayonnaise. Real good ingredients, real good taste.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Lowe's knows how to set off your July 4th with savings. Right now, buy one, get one free on select one-coat coverage interior paint via Visa gift card rebate. Plus, get two select 2 or 2.5 quart red, white, and blue annuals for just $10. Hurry, these July 4th deals won't last long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for more details.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
Make 97.3 The Game your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Broadcasting from the all-new Iron Jock Studios. Built by Reamer Remodel.
Ready to roll, baby!
This is WRNW-FM Milwaukee. 97.3 The Game. Welcome to Wisconsin Sports Sunday. If it's happening here, these guys are talking about it.
Who are you guys?
Don Wachilis.
That's right.
The Professor Dan Underberg.
What if circumstances magnified one of them in size and strength?
And the Polish pipe bomb, Jeff Orlowski.
How's the headbanging coming?
Welcome to Wisconsin Sports Sunday.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 2 of Wisconsin Sports Sunday, along with the Polish pipe bomb, Jeff Orlowski, the Professor Dan Underberg. I'm Don Wachilis. Thanks, as always, for joining us, whether you've done so on the game, whether you're hooking us up through Facebook or Twitter or on the iHeart app. Glad to have you on board. Don't forget, following our show today, we take it over to Packers Prime. Today, they replay Super Bowl 31. So Jim and Max, that to me is worth listening right there. To hear Jim and Max back on the call. Love Wayne Larrivee. Nothing against Wayne Larrivee, but Jim Irwin is the voice of my youth. And to hear Jim call that Super Bowl 31 where the Lombardi Trophy is coming back to Green Bay, I'm all about that. So that game in its entirety will follow us here on Wisconsin Sports Sunday. And then hang around, because the franchise Tim Allen and the Polish pipe bomb Jeff Orlowski will be here to take your calls for the Brewer postgame show. So a bunch of stuff.
Never heard of him.
Don't talk about Tim like that. There's a bunch of stuff happening here on the game on this Sunday, again, as we wrap up the holiday weekend. I hear Tim in the Shaw pipe bomb has had some things to say on the talk and text line.
Yeah, he does. Some were right, some were wrong. He said, sorry, Pipe, it's straight gluttony. So he's 100% wrong.
There you go,
on
Tim.
on those amazing athletes. And the girl, the lady that won the chick division, she was kind of hot. I'm not gonna lie. That
Jeff is going to be working marketing in no time for the competitive eating association. I don't even know what it is.
Well, it's an
How did we get
amazing
back on
organization.
this?
I don't know, but there was a chick a bunch of years ago. There was a chick who sat there and won the chicken wing eating contest, right? So being the dirty old man I am, I looked her up. She looked like a metal girl. So she was hot, and so I instantly fell in love. But then I sat there and I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, if she can eat like that, man, that's an expensive date. So then I moved on.
What else did Tim have to say?
Save us, Tim.
Save us, please.
I don't know. He sent in a bunch.
Okay,
He sent in a bunch.
that's fair.
And then Chris in West Bend said Gary Payton was no floor general like CP3 can still be.
Ooh. You know what I would love to have? That text and have Gary Payton on the line, because there's nobody that loves Gary Payton more than Gary Payton.
Oh, hello.
Gary Payton would go off on a tangent. You'd have the dump button ready like there's no tomorrow if he was responding to that. But to both of them, thank you for hitting us up on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line. Always love the interactions that we get here on a Sunday. We move on to our Milwaukee Brewers, who after last week Sunday, we were sitting here just in ourselves talking about the wins, how they've been playing baseball. And then you know what flipped it again is a rain delay. We had talked about the rain delay at Wrigley, that after that they really kind of found their groove, and then they go out to play the Mets. The first game is postponed because of weather. They play a doubleheader on Wednesday. They win 7-2, lose 7-3. I think it was in the nightcap, and Miz came back down to earth a little bit in that game. Then they lose the game on Thursday. They get a win with the Marlins on Friday, lose again yesterday. So today is kind of I'll say a must win before coming back to American Family Field. Get that road trip at 500. I don't necessarily think a road trip is a disaster if you come back even. If you're at the 500 mark, yes, you always want to be above, but as long as you're not on the losing side of a road trip, okay, I can live with it. But today, Pipe Bomb, it's all about Woodruff back on the mound, getting his first start in what seems like an eternity, seeing if the magic is back.
Yeah, this road trip sucks, man. You sat there, you had 3 against the Mets, who were struggling so, mightily coming in. You lose 2 out of 3. And then you take on the Fish down in South Beach, and you split the first 2 there as well against those bums. What sucks about this trip so bad is that this is the first time we've seen Pat Murphy slump, because, man, he has made some just absolutely just bizarre head-scratching decisions from the lineups. Finally this offense got rolling, and, Yelly was hitting everything in sight. Frelick was doing Frelick things. And then you had Durbin and Ortiz ripping it up at the bottom of the order and all that. And the Brewers were red hot, scoring a ton of runs and winning. Then you go to New York to take on the Mets, and all of a sudden you have to play a doubleheader, and Durbin is out for the 2 games, and Anthony Siegler, who this, starts both games of the doubleheader. It's just a bizarre move after bizarre move. Yesterday, Chad Patrick, he sat there and was throwing well, didn't throw a lot of pitches, got pulled after 72 pitches. You're telling me that he couldn't have gone an extra inning plus? He gave up a couple of runs, but he sent down a bunch in a row, and Murph pulled him. And the reason why it's a big deal is because today is a complete wild card. You got Woody on the mound. Congratulations to Woodruff. Congratulations to his whole family First time on a mound in almost 2 years, and he's wearing a Brewers uniform. So let's all rejoice. I think that's great. We have no idea what we're going to get out of Woody here.
Right.
We know his fastball is slower than it was when he went under the knife to begin with. He said in spring training he's got to learn a different way to pitch and become more of a pitcher and can't rely on his heater that much because the miles per hour are down. So we don't know we have no idea what we're going to get out of him. The one thing I do know is that, I thought it was great that in his rehab assignments, he was pushing the 80 pitch mark and all that. There's no way in hell I see Woody getting anywhere near 80 pitches today.
No.
And it doesn't matter if he gives up 10 or if he is throwing a perfect game. I think about 60 pitches with the way the Brewers' track record of babying these guys back from injury and all that. I think, even if he's perfect through 3, but he's approaching 60, I think he's out.
And Dan, to Pipe Bomb's point about the fastball being down, it's going to be real telling in the first couple of innings where his location is, because I think unless he's able to rehab after that Tommy John surgery and get the miles per hour up on that fastball, now he's going to have to be a location pitcher, in order to do that, that will take a bit of time getting reacclimated to the major leagues. But again, in those first 2 innings, if we can see him paint the corners, if we can see him maybe going upstairs and getting guys to chase pitches because the fastball is rising, those are going to be key elements for me watching today's game.
I'm of the mind when I look at this game today, Woodruff is the story. I get that completely. And Pipe Bomb, I'm with you. I don't think it's going to go much more than 60 pitches and all that. But for me, the storyline, they're doing it again. Runners in scoring position. How do you have 9 hits and score 2 runs? And that for me was the ball game right there. It just because watching that game yesterday and hit. I mean, it's not like the Marlins were shutting the Brewers down pitching wise, but yet when it matters, they could not get that runner that's in scoring position over to home base. They had the opportunities. It was there. So for all the focus it's going to be on Woodruff right now, for crying out loud, when you need that key hit, get the hit, because, this is a team that, look, you're not always going to sweep, but you should have been a hell of a lot closer sweeping the Marlins than most teams that are out there.
And Jeff, doesn't this go back to, I'll take Dan's point. If we go back to last week, Sunday, they lose an extra innings to the Rockies. They go down 4-3 before going on the road. And it was the situation that Dan just described. Guys in scoring position, not being able to get them across the plate, whether it was in regulation or extra innings. And it seems as if once that starts, much like they get on these streaks where they're hitting well and scoring a bunch of runs, but when they get into those situations in a particular game where they can't get guys across the plate when they need it, they seem to go on a stretch where that scenario takes place. And once that game finished here in Milwaukee against Colorado, where that took place, now we've seen it rear its ugly head all along this road trip.
Yeah, and that's why, again, I think anybody who says that momentum doesn't exist in baseball is full of crap. Or, momentum in baseball is tomorrow's starting pitcher. I want to slap all those people. Momentum is a real thing. And when you start going bad, you start going real bad until something, rain delay, something weird sits there and switches it up. But, that's a great point with the runners in scoring position. They're not getting the big hits when they need it. But because of that, you sat there and you pinch hit for Joey Ortiz, twice over the weekend. Joey Ortiz, who's caught so much flack this season for his horrible batting average, that we renamed the Mendoza line the Joey Ortiz line. He finally gets above the Joey Ortiz line. He's launching homers like we've never seen before, and he gets pinch hit for twice in the last 3 games. Late inning situations, and yesterday was for Seigler. And the only reason I think that you would pinch hit Joey Ortiz, who was rolling hot, launching bombs, for Seigler, it must be Because Siegler's got great hair and Joey doesn't. That's the only reason. Besides that, it makes no sense to me. That's why I say that Murphy's slumping. He's not putting his guys in the best position to win.
Did those moves feel council-esque?
Yes.
That was my feeling too.
You go into the doubleheader, you got Caleb Durbin, who just extended to an 8-game hitting streak at that time, and he sits both games of the doubleheader.
You can see one, right? In a doubleheader, you could see one, especially if you play Durbin in that first game and he struggles. All right, time for a day off. If he was red hot, this is me. And again, it's hindsight. I keep him in, Jeffrey.
Well, and we saw the cooler, Greg, clown sellout down in Chicago there. He would do this crap all the time. Oh, the professor's got a 15-game hitting streak. Yeah, take the weekend off, bro. What? I thought we were trying to win here.
Are we wadding the 15-game hitting streak?
I didn't mean to sell you short. I'm sorry. But, it's brutal, man. It's brutal. Something needs to happen to sit there and hopefully maybe it's just a return of Woody. Because when we were down in Arizona for spring training, when he first took the mound down there, every single member of the Brewers was on the top rail of the dugout cheering him on. It was a very, very special moment. Hopefully now that he's finally returning to action here in the show, hopefully this is the thing that, puts the foot up the butt and gets him going in the right direction.
Because best case scenario is the fact that we know he probably, as you said, go like 60 pitches tops. Best case scenario is he buzzes through the first maybe 4, maybe the 5th inning's a little rough, but he gets through 5. Like if we can get Woody through 5 today before we have to go to the bullpen, then I think, Daniel, you're setting yourself up for a little bit of success. I don't know. I may be dreaming because, again, he's coming back after such a long hiatus, working himself back over that Tommy John surgery. But I'm thinking today, man, if you can get Woody through 5 before you have to start tapping the bullpen, knowing what the upcoming week is going to be like, that to me would be a success.
I'll take 4 innings. I'll be honest. If we get 4, that would be fantastic. When these rehab assignments leading into, Pipe Bomber, you're talking about earlier about how the Brewers have this history of using gloves to help pitchers come back so delicately. I always look at these, when they're rehabbing in AAA and single A and doing those things, I get that they're working on particular pitches. I get that they might be working on technique, but you're also not telling me that they're not sweating, they're not putting the arm through the rigors. I just think if we're going to do this with Woodruff, and I think if I'm a professional athlete, at some point I get a little tired of this too. Let me play the game. You want to give me one game where you're concerned. You want to watch how I respond, to see how the elbow's doing, all that stuff. I get it. Fine. But at some point, if you're the athlete out there and you were designed and created to play and to compete, don't take me out of the game unless I'm getting hit all across the board. But let me work this out, or I'll tell you when I need to come out.
Well, yeah, you look at it. Garrett Mitchell, his last start before he was going to come off the IL and be back here in Milwaukee, messes up his shoulder yet again, sliding back into first base. The last start that Woody had, when he was supposed to start a while ago, takes a liner off the elbow. Are you kidding me? Right. You're putting these guys, not so much with Mitchell because he's never been able to be healthy. But with Woody, you got a veteran who knows his body better than anybody else in the world. And if he tells you he's ready, he doesn't need 5 starts in order to be in the line of fire to take a freaking liner off his elbow. Get him up here where it matters and have him start throwing.
Especially with the way we have metrics today. Like there are so many ways to analyze these athletes in a much better way than we did 10, 15, 20 years ago to understand whether or not Woody is ready to go. Because to me, it's all about, to Jeff's point, Dan, getting some momentum today, getting a win before you come home. Because when we come home, you got the Dodgers, right? Shohei and company will be in Milwaukee here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And you're facing a team that, Shohei's hitting 345. You go down Mookie Betts, 321. You can go right down the line. You've got like 5 of their starting 9 that's hitting 280 and above or 275 and above. You're getting ready to be tested. And so one of the things, any team wants is you want to play the best to kind of measure where you're at as of right now. This doesn't mean whatever takes place these 3 games here in Milwaukee against the Dodgers, who are one of the favorites to win the NL, means this is what's going to happen in October. But it's a great measuring stick to see where you are and to see how you handle the spotlight. That to me is the most important with some of these young guys that the Brewers have, because we talked about earlier in the season the mistakes that were being made on the base paths, the mistakes that were being made on some of the throws, the errors that we've seen because they are younger guys. Well, now the baseball world is going to be watching you. I think it's as important to see how they handle that spotlight at this point in the season as much as how they play on the field.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, because it is can you handle what's being thrown at you in terms of a public perception? And last year was such a surprise that this team came out and performed the way that they did.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you kind of reasonably expect that this team can go out there and be a little bit better and show that they're much closer to the Dodgers, that are they Dodgers level yet? No, but they're nipping at the heels, right? They should be able to have that skill set. And and it's a home series too.
Yeah.
So being able to see that, they're going to get all the attention they want. And then some. I think it's on Wednesday when it's what is it? Tuesday.
Miz and Kershaw.
Yeah. So that game right there, can the Milwaukee Brewers handle it?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. So again, the game first pitch today for Woody is just after noon. You keep it right here at the game following the Brewer Marlins matchup, as Tim Allen, the franchise, and the Polish Pipe Bomb Jeff Orlowski will be here to cover what takes place on the field down in Miami. And again, right after our show, keep it here for Packers Prime, as they'll replay Super Bowl 31. Jim and Max on hand for the play-by-play as the Packers take Super Bowl 31 from the New England Patriots. We'll play it in its entirety. We come back from a break. I feel like I need the boombox holding it up right now.
This picture of you standing across the street from Giannis's place as the police
are putting handcuffs on me. When we come back after the break, let's talk some Badgers here on a Wisconsin Sports Sunday.
I don't like to see so much pain.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th. Streaming live only on Hulu. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
Capital One is the proud presenting partner of iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
I can see the breath inside my house. This is how horror movies start.
First, the cold seeps in. Next thing you know, you're spooning your cat for warmth.
I tried it. He bit me.
Jason, come on, man. You need a new furnace. Don't you know that Capital is giving away the furnace when you get a new AC?
Giving as in free?
Yeah, but call Capital before this turns into the horror version of Frozen. Call Capital today and get a free furnace with a new AC.
Old-fashioned service, you can't go wrong. Call CapitalCares.com.
Craving a turkey sandwich? Start with Kraft Real Mayonnaise, made with eggs from right here in the Midwest and whipped velvety smooth. Taste the difference in potato salad and tuna casserole too. Kraft Real Mayonnaise. Real good ingredients, real good taste.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed.
From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Infinity's app shows precise costs of your new roof, providing peace of mind.
Infinity costs less, and the price we quote is surprise-free.
Because we pay less, you pay less. Warranted, guaranteed quality.
Installing peace of mind. infinityroofing.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
The Fox 6 weather experts are presented by AdventKnows.com.
Scattered showers and a few thunderstorms are possible on Sunday. We'll gradually clear that out by Sunday night. Otherwise, we'll have a cooler day with highs in the upper 70s, but still very muggy. Dew points lowered on Monday. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Lisa Michaels.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off. Free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
Make 97.3 The Game your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Thank you for making all that noise tonight. We really appreciate it. You're far too kind. Can I get an encore? Do you want more? Cook and roll with the Brooklyn Boys. One last time, need y'all to roll.
All right, welcome back in. It is a Wisconsin Sports Sunday here on The Game as we make our way into some Badger talk here. And, you know, we're getting closer and closer, Daniel, to the start of college football season. I noticed, I think it was Thursday because the Badgers kick off on a Thursday night affair. I think it's an 8 o'clock start. Yeah. I think we're about 7 weeks away now from that beginning. Basketball has returned to campus as they start their summer camps. I know UWM is going through it. Obviously the Badgers, Marquette, everybody's, getting back up into the swing of things. There's a part of me that's just excited, embraces that. And then there's another part of me like, oh, it's after July 4th already. That means summer is starting on the back end, beginning to wind down. You wait all winter long for some warm weather. And I refuse to fuss like yesterday when it's 95 and muggy. I'll take that any day over, a February where it's 35 below with the wind chill kind of a thing. But so there's that wrestling happening upstairs in the cranium of the summer starting already, maybe to think about winding down, but yet that means we're getting closer to college football and college basketball. And the Badgers, a story came out this week about Nick Boyd, the transfer from San Diego State, who last year averaged over 13 a game. And Krebenhoff was talking about his speed and what that could mean as he now and John Blackwell occupy the backcourt, along with, you've got the foreign transfers coming in, just the mix that the Badgers are now putting together as far as this basketball team moves forward. And we hear so much about the transfer portal and NIL and all of these wonderful things that now are a integral part of what college athletics is. But again, I go back to, and something we've talked about with the way Greg Gard has been able to successfully, at least initially here, handle the transfer portal and bring in guys that are not only talented, but fit the culture of what they do. Hashtag John Tanji, who just got drafted. And I don't know, had he gone somewhere else, would he had that kind of success? That could be debatable. I mean, we obviously look at things through, red and white glasses many a times. But I just think if this young man, this Nick Boyd, can live up to the hype already that we're seeing of what's taking place in summer camp, you got to then be pretty excited once again about the Badgers going into the upcoming basketball season.
Oh, I think so. I mean, again, the Wisconsin Badgers have been lauded for their work in the transfer portal this year. It's just to your point, Don, talking about what Greg Gard has been able to do to get them into the culture, but then get them to kind of integrate the styles within the guys that are starting. Right. if you look at this team right now, you've only got 2 starters coming back from last year that were even with the team, right?
Right, yeah.
You've got John Blackwell, you've got Nolan Winter, and then you've got, to your point, Nick Boyd coming in from San Diego State. You got Andrew Rode coming in from Virginia, Austin Rapp coming in from Portland, right? So finding, again, everything looks great on paper. Finding these guys and getting them to play together, getting them to kind of intake what this new offense is for 3 of the 5 guys and find their role in it and feel comfortable with it. Look, if Nick Boyd can do that, and if he can bring that speed and, again, the athleticism, which now Wisconsin has for years and years and years. You didn't talk about Wisconsin being athletic. And they've kind of changed that mold over time. But now you've got this guard duo where, again, if they can play together, if they can work with each other, man, this is going to be a fun team to watch.
And we got to throw in Jack Janicki, because we can't leave him out. I don't want family of Janicki like suddenly bombasting pipe bomb over there on the talk and text line. But you're absolutely right. And the fact that guard, in my opinion, has evolved. Now, Greg Gard might say, this is just coaching. I coach what I have, whatever the case may be. But we've seen guard evolve a little bit in this new era of NIL and the transfer portal, where I think he's allowing some of these younger guys, if they can handle it on the floor, playing time. Where that was earned, right? You sat out maybe your freshman year, your sophomore year, you got a few minutes, and maybe by your junior year and your senior year, you got your traction to get your playing time. The idea now with the transfer portal, I think, has forced he and his staff to reconsider maybe the way they viewed playing time, where you're starting to see a lot of younger guys getting an opportunity. That doesn't mean it's guaranteed, but at least they're getting an opportunity, which, if you look at, let's say, a Jack Janicki, who they re-upped his NIL deal in order to bring him into the mix, he got some playing time last year. He made the most of those minutes, and now he's going to be a part of, maybe not the starting 5, but that rotation that will give him some significant playing time going into the upcoming season.
Yeah, and why not? Because I think if you're Jack Janicki, you've got to feel pretty good, because, again, let's look at the projected starting guards, okay? Nick Boyd is a senior. So that'll be done. And then you've got Blackwell, who, and no, this is not being critical, NBA aspirations.
Absolutely.
Right? So, Janicki could easily find himself in the starting guard role a year from now. And depending upon injuries and things like that, he could also find himself in that place here. So again, that's one of those places where, granted, it was an NIL deal that kind of sweetened the pot a little bit, but at the same time, understanding that there's opportunity for me to stay here at Wisconsin, to play here at Wisconsin, to grow at Wisconsin, and maybe reach another level of goal, if I can stick around and be patient.
And we've seen that, at least here on the 94 corridor between Shaka Smart and Greg Gard, that guys who sustain through multiple years within the program set themselves up for success after. Now, whether that after is the NBA, whether it's the G League, whether it's going overseas to play, their skill set is such where they end up having, I will say, decent careers. And I think that's the benefit of, for instance, you brought up Blackwell, getting an opportunity because of the way the rules are to test the NBA market, go to these camps, show his wares, get scouted, have the scouts lay it out with he and I'm sure his agent. Here's how we graded you. Here's where we think you'll go, if you'll go. Now make the decision. Do you want to jump into the mix or head back to college? And thankfully for us as Badger fans, and I think thankfully for he and his family, he made the choice to come back. Now, that's hopefully we get an injury-free season where nothing hampers that. But if he develops the leaps he took between freshman and sophomore, if he now takes between sophomore and junior year, my goodness, his ability to market himself next year for the draft has taken a huge leap, which then means potentially a much bigger purse for him as he turns pro.
Especially, and this whole, again, college basketball now is all about the NCAA tournament. So if this team could finally make a deep run into the NCAA tournament, because it feels like it's been years since it's happened. It's almost been a decade. That's only going to help a guy like John Blackwell, right?
Right.
That leadership level. And then all of a sudden, not only do you have the attention of scouts leading up to that, but now you have an opportunity to be one of the guys on a national stage where everybody's watching. Again, Pipe Bomb was talking about the idea of momentum, or it's just building up and building up to the point where there's actual pressure. You've got to look at John Blackwell. You consider him for a draft pick.
And Blackwell has been one of those guys, even going back to his freshman year, who I think has welcomed that. From all of the varying interviews that you see or things that have been written about him. I want to be that guy. And that, to me, is one of the elements that makes great college basketball and pro basketball players. How many of the guys that we consider to be the GOAT are the guys that say, I want the ball at the end? I don't care what my game has been throughout, we'll say 39 and change minutes of whatever the contest is. But when push comes to shove, give me the ball. I'm confident in myself to make that shot. I get that from John Blackwell. Every year it's been like, I want to be that guy, and not to the extent of what AJ Storr was, where I think AJ Storr, had the confidence, but the confidence, I think, sometimes created some recklessness in the fact that we just kept shooting in times when maybe we should have dished. Look at Tanji. Tanji was great at moving the ball and taking advantage of when his shot was there or his ability to drive to the basket. He took advantage of it. And when it wasn't, he knew how to spread the wealth, so to speak, and find the John Blackwells of the world to get some open looks. I think Blackwell's got more Tanji in him than he does AJ Storr, not to diminish AJ Storr by any means. But Blackwell, I think, is that guy, again, if he can physically and then statistically take that next step, I think the mindset's already in play.
Oh yeah, mindset's already in place. I think physically he's in the right spot. I think by the end of the season, hopefully you're at this place where you look at Tanji and Blackwell as the same player, and I mean in terms of productivity, but also maybe Blackwell's a little bit better. By that time at the end of the season where he's really established himself. What I love about Blackwell is that you get a lot of guys in college ball that want to proclaim that they want to be the guy, and then they get upset when they're not the guy. What Blackwell has done at Wisconsin into his third season is he's earned the right to be the guy. Okay, and I think if you look at what Greg Gard has, look, he's going to play the hot hand. He's going to go with the one that's carrying the team. But the reality is it's John Blackwell that has been the starter, or he's the starter that's got the most experience with the team. Nolan Winter, yes, but Blackwell, I think, is going to be the guy that Greg Gard is going to go to.
Yes.
And then, the comparisons with AJ Storr, things like that, I kind of pulled back from that a little bit. AJ Storr was a known entity in the sense that he goes from spot to spot to spot to spot to spot to find the best opportunity for him. Again, from the idea of that's the way the NCAA was set up. Go, young man, do your thing. But, this is, again, Blackwell has shown the propensity to want to stick around and to build with Gard. I like the opportunity for him.
And I just hope when the time comes when he declares for the draft that he is a first round as opposed to a second round pick. But wherever I think
it's really hard to be a first round pick in the NBA.
It absolutely is. Yeah, absolutely. And it wouldn't be a knock if he went in the second round. It wouldn't be a knock if he went as an unsigned, free agent, undrafted, free agent, and landed with a team, because I think he has, you were just saying, the ability to make his mark. A couple of other stories coming out of the Madison area with regards to the Badger football team, as we, again, are just probably within about 7 weeks before we kick this thing off. And it's, again, going to be an interesting season when you look at the schedule, looking at the fact that this team is going to be in the midst of a transformation now with a new offensive coordinator, kind of, getting back, I'll say, to the way things were. It's going to be interesting to look at varying positions, and probably none more important anytime you're talking football these days than the quarterback position, and what will Billy Edwards Jr. bring to this team. He's got all of the physical attributes. He had some success when he's at Maryland, but my goodness, the way things have gone under the current tenure of Luke Fickell, one of the things that really Pipe Bomb has to jump up is the quarterback play for the Badgers. If they're going to have any sort of success, even with the mindset now that they're going back to more of a running style offense, that QB position is so valuable.
It is. And it's also, it just a head scratcher because 5 years ago, would we have thought that the Badgers would be one of the teams that are going to change quarterbacks every single season? Not me. I did not see this coming. I don't think that necessarily this is a successful way to go about building a program. That's the one position you need the most stability at. Yeah. And obviously with the transfer portal and all these guys getting paid and the huge contracts and whatever, insert whatever excuse you want, it's really hard to hold on to these dudes. But, it's the same thing, from, Joel Stavi, Graham Mertz, all these guys, they come in with huge expectations, and we're still waiting for one of them to deliver on it.
Yeah, to live up to and that's hard, right? Anytime you have heightened expectations coming into a program, that can be a challenge to live up to. But to Jeff's point, to see this evolution over the last few years where it's changing every single year, it's tough because you're just waiting for somebody to dig in and take hold of it. But then what's also tough is that you sit there and you look at a Billy Edwards Jr., and I hope and I pray that he has great success. But if he does, this is it. It's a one and done situation. How do we again get to a point where we can start crafting and maturing and growing our own quarterbacks to take over and build succession?
Well, part of it, we keep on looking at the organization, whatever team and whatever university it is. Part of it are these young quarterbacks, and granted they're 18, 19 years old, and I understand it, but being willing to stick with a program and be groomed and do that instead of kind of chasing the cash or chasing the opportunity. I have more of an opportunity to play my style game or to throw more balls or whatever it's going to be, to find a quarterback that might be more mature enough to say it could be in my best interest to stick around for 2 to 3 years and then measure that out. Right now, we've got so many quarterbacks out there right now that are just bouncing as soon as they're not seeing the field.
Well, yeah, and quarterbacks become the ones in the spotlight, but you can go right down the position list and find the same thing. All right, let's get to our last break of the day. When we come back, as always, it's the Book of Pipe Bomb to close out this holiday weekend, and we'll get to it next. It's a Wisconsin Sports Sunday right here on The Game.
Craving a turkey sandwich? Start with Kraft Real Mayonnaise. Made with eggs from right here in the Midwest and whipped till it's velvety smooth and irresistibly creamy. So creamy, you might just add it to your potato salad and your tuna casserole too. But no matter how you spread it, dip it, or mix it, taste the difference when it's Kraft Real Mayonnaise. Real good ingredients, real good taste.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
I'm Dr. Damon Tanton for Viome. Viome's full body intelligence test is the new science in anti-aging and life-extending insights. Viome analyzes your biological age to see if your body is aging too rapidly. You'll learn how making simple, precise changes in certain foods and supplements can, get this, slow your aging, keep you looking young, and help prevent future health issues. Next, Viome doctors design supplements specifically to your body's needs. Their job is to slow down and help reverse how fast your body is aging. And your Viome microbiome test reveals why you have stomach issues, don't sleep well, have low energy, even why you can't lose weight and more. Viome reboots your body to live longer, live healthier, and look younger.
Viome is changing lives.
Order your full body intelligence test online and save $50. Viome guarantees rapid, remarkable health improvements your doctor will notice. Visit Viome.com, promo code THRIVE. That's VIOME.com, promo code THRIVE.
After a crash with a semi-truck, everything can change instantly. At Gruber Law Offices, we have the knowledge and experience to make sure you're protected. And we're here to help whenever you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
The Black Friday and July event from Dell Technologies is here with great offers on trusted technology. You'll also discover huge deals on new AI-ready laptops like the Dell 14 Plus featuring Intel Core Ultra processors starting at $699.99. Save on top accessories, plus enjoy fast, free shipping and other benefits. Upgrade today by visiting Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Dick's Deal Days are happening now. You won't want to miss our biggest sale of the summer. Scorecard members earn a $20 bonus reward on your purchase of $150 or more. Plus 3 days of amazing savings start Tuesday. Check out offers from brands like Nike, Adidas, Hoka, and Stanley. And check back daily for new one-day deals Tuesday through Thursday. Score the season's hottest savings before they're gone on July 10th. Shop in the app and on Dicks.com. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
iHeartRadio's got you covered for the summer. Hit play on the perfect summer playlist like Summer Classics. Road tripping with commercial-free weekends on Smells Like the 90s. Or zone out in the shade with a good podcast. Your summer soundtrack is already in your pocket with the free iHeartRadio app. Find your next summer preset now.
iHeartRadio. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Don't you know that I'm loving you?
All right, welcome back in one last time on a Wisconsin Sports Sunday. Want to remind you, we get to the top of the hour. It's Packers Prime. Today, we get to relive Super Bowl 31 in its entirety. Jim Irwin and the group on the call, so stick around for that. And then, of course, after the Brewer game against the Marlins, you bring it right back here with the franchise Tim Allen and the Polish Pipe Bomb Jeff Orlowski, as they'll have the post-game show right here for you on the game. But as we always do to close things out, it's now time for the Book of Pipe Bomb. Oh, Jeffrey.
All right, little, 4th of July, middle of the year edition here. Just some observations. Now, I was working on the 3rd. My wife took the little demons to the fireworks in the falls, sent me some pictures and stuff. And I'm sitting there and, oh, yeah, great. Another picture of my kid, So I'm looking around in the background. And every person that I saw had their face buried in their phones. And all you maniacs who went down to Summerfest to go see some beautiful live music, there's nothing better. I'm sure you all saw 80% of the crowd either taking videos that they're never going to go back and watch. You're sitting there trying to watch the show through the idiot in front of his phone because you can't see the stage. It's just ridiculous. Now, no one follows through on New Year's resolutions. So now that we're halfway through the year, how about a 4th of July resolution here? Live in the moment. Put the damn phone down. Talk to who you went to the event with. Do something, just be in the moment. You're not going to go back and listen to terrible video of a band where the sound is crappy and all that. Just be happy that you're there and talk to those around you. You'll enjoy life more, I think.
Can I add on just a touch to that?
Of course.
The latest trend of holding the phone up to your face, but having the speaker on.
Yeah.
Like, I really need to listen to your conversation. Take your wrist, rotate it over, and next thing you know, that phone is right next to your ear, and you can utilize it the way it was meant to be utilized. The idea that everybody now is utilizing the speakerphone and you're standing in line at the grocery store or wherever it might be and having to listen to someone else's conversation, it's that we can do without that one. Add
awful.
that to the New Year's resolution, would you, sir?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. I couldn't agree more. No one wants to hear your conversations. If I get a phone call when I'm checking out at the grocery store, I pick it up like, hey, give me 2 minutes and I'll call you right back.
Absolutely.
It ain't hard.
It isn't hard, but we are addicted to these wonderful things, and we've got a whole new set of dilemmas that we once never had. All right,
Yeah,
coming
get
up.
some manners.
Coming up at the top of the hour, don't forget Packers Prime. We get to relive Super Bowl 31 as Jim and Max will be on the call. That will be played its entirety here in just a moment or two. Also, after the Brewers-Marlins matchup, bring it right back here as Pipe Bomb and the franchise Tim Allen will be here for the post-game show. For the Polish Pipe Bomb, Jeff Orlowski, the Professor Dan Underberg, I'm Don Wachillis. Thank you guys so much for listening and commenting, whether it was on social media or on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line. Blessed to have you on board. Until next week, we'll take care. We'll see you later.
They say seeing is believing. And when you check out what's waiting for you at American Place Casino, you'll definitely believe you'll love it. From thrilling gaming to top-notch service, we're changing the game. Come play all your favorites